everyone, it's Daphne from Scrap and Create, and I am back today to continue working on my Stamperia mini album. And today we are going to layer in the rest of the designer papers. I've got everything pre-trimmed, most everything inked, but it should go pretty quick. We had put down some of the designer mats when we originally constructed the album, just because some of the flap features actually went on top of the designer paper, but we didn't finish, and so today that's what we're going to do. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and sit down and get started. Okay, I just took a few minutes to trim down the papers that are going to go on the inside and back covers, and I haven't even got the ink on yet, which is what I'm doing right now. So I'm going to get these in very quickly. And everything else, I think I've got, unless I have to do some trimming, everything else should be inked. But sometimes when I go to actually place the paper, I notice that it needs a little more trimming. So there still might be some ink to do, but most of it should be done. All right, so this is going to go directly onto the inside cover. Let's get some glue on this. Get this down. All right. Another gorgeous day here in San Diego. Just looking for nice even margins, and oops, I got a little glue on my ribbon there, and I want to stay out of the hinge area. Okay. I'm gonna burnish this. Okay. And then this piece is going to go, and it's directional. It's got some words on it, so I want to make sure I got it going the right direction, but I believe I do, and this is going to get installed right here. And I trimmed this just a few minutes ago, and then in the process of doing that, I realized that I probably want to make this a pocket. So I'm going to go ahead and only do 3 of the 4 sides so that we can slip stuff inside. And use it as a pocket. One of the nice things about the Stamperia collection is you get these cut apart pages, and you get a lot of journal and tags with it. So there's lots of little things that you can stuff into your pockets to later journal on, or to actually layer onto your photos as you're actually filling the book. So this makes for a nice little storage space for them. Okay, now we're on to page 1. I've set inside the pages, I've got all the designer papers, so I have to kind of pull them out and get them out of the way. So this is going to go here. Let me double check. Is it inked? It is. All right. And this will go pretty quick. So for constructing this album, I used 2 packs of the Stamperia music collection, and each pack gives you 10 designer sheets that are double-sided. And you really, I mean, to do an album like this, you really need a minimum of 2 packs, and I'm going to tell you why in just a moment. So I was able to do all of the exposed flaps with designer paper like this, and the tops of these, but the back sides are all going to have a coordinating cardstock, because with only 2 packs to work with, that's not enough designer paper to cover both sides of the flaps. And that's okay, because a lot of times it's the back side of the flap is where you put your photo anyway, and you use the front to display some of the pretty papers. But if you want to put designer paper on both sides, you're going to need at least 3 packs. 2 packs will get you, like I said, all the exposed surfaces of all your flaps, but not the insides. So the other problem with just 2 packs is these are all pocket pages, so they have inserts, and I don't have enough paper to cover my inserts either. So my inserts are going to wind up with just a decorative strip along the edge for the piece that's exposed that you pull out as a tab, but the rest of the insert is just really going to be this craft cardstock. So it won't have any photo mats installed on it. Okay, and then I had temporarily glued this here because this paper was not quite long enough to cover, and I didn't want to lose my strip. So let me see if I need to trim this just a tiny bit. And then glue it in. And this is just me making my paper stretch. I needed, I didn't want to waste this. I thought, oh, it's so pretty for a photo mat, but it wasn't quite big enough. So this is how I solved my problem, is just a coordinating piece of trim. Whoops, that's a little too much glue. And there we go. Now it's in. All right, had a little extra glue there. Squeeze that off. And then this is going to be into the photo mat. So this video is going to focus on getting all the rest of the designer or the craft paper covered. And then I'm going to stop there, and then I'll come back and we'll go over some of the more detailed embellishments, which I'm not installing just yet. Okay, there we go. Beautiful, beautiful. That is in. Okay, one more designer piece goes on top here. And this is directional, so I'm looking at the small words here to make sure I've got it going the right direction, and I do. I just need some glue. So far, so good. I was thinking I might have to do some trimming, but it looks like I did a good job the first time. So I had installed some, and I talked about this in the first video, installed some ribbon behind the stationery mat here. And then also it's going behind this mat on the top flap, and that's what we'll use to keep this closed. Oops. I'm going to turn this sideways because I can't see the top and bottom. And now I can. And that is centered. Okay. All right. So I'll come back and do a couple more things to embellish, but that is all the base designer pages for page 1. Okay, and that ties shut just like that. Let's go to page 2. Oh, I forgot I need a piece here. Page 2. So this is just a stationary photo mat sitting here, and then we've got this nice little flap. So I'm going to do the photo mat first. Double check, yes. Make sure I have inked my edges, and I have. Hopefully I'm not getting the top of my head in the shot. Okay, nice, nice. And then I really wanted to use this particular piece. I really like the violin, but it turned out that I had trimmed it a little too short. So I'm gonna actually come back and do the same thing I did on the previous page. I'm gonna add this little piece of trim right here. So let me decide, I'm not sure. Do I wanna use the trim on the outside? So I can trim it here, or I can shift the whole thing over and put the trim on the other side. So let me get my temporary tape off and make that decision. So I can place this to the far left and have my trim on this side. Or I can have, I think I want my trim on the outside. And I did not ink this, so I'm going to do that real quick. It's hard to ink these little skinny pieces. They just want to fold up on you. I think I wound up getting more ink on me than the paper. So I'm excited to get this finished. And also, just a heads up, we got some new paper in this week. It's so exciting. So Stamperia's got a couple new collections, and we're dashing off some paper to one of your favorite designers. Christine Riley's going to put something together with the new Stamperia collection. It's called Alice, and it's based on Alice in Wonderland, and it's really, really a cool set of papers. I can't wait to see what she does with it. But she'll be releasing something before you know it. And I'm not sure what size format she's going to work in. I know she likes 8x8 and 5x7, so I'm guessing it'll be one of those two sizes. Anyway, if you look in, sorry, I just had to get that off there. It was bugging me. If you look in our shop, you'll find the new collections. We'll have those listed there very soon. By the time this video is released, for sure. They're really cool. And then there is another one. It's a spring release, and I know it's still winter, but it's always nice to look ahead. I will likely be doing something with that paper collection, although I don't know what yet. Okay, that is in. And then I'll add this. Perfect. This one's already inked, so that will go very quickly. So this is an example of why you never want to throw away your scraps. You just never know when you're going to use them. Just to make your paper stretch just a little bit more. And I had some other paper that I could have used to cover this flap, but I really like the violin, so I couldn't let it go to waste. So this is, like I said, this is how I solved that problem. Okay. All right, that is in. So I need to trim one piece of paper here. I didn't realize I didn't have something for the internal flap. So this looks like it's 4.5 by 8, 4.5 by 8. So I actually want something that's going to be 4 3/8. I'm going to trim something really quick to go on the inside. Let's see if I've got that. Yeah, that'll work. So that needs to be, sorry, can't get out of my own way. I'm going to trim it right here. There we go. Perfect. And then double check my measurement. Double check, that way you can't uncut something. So 4.5, 4 3/8. And 3/8, and it looks like I need to take off an 1/8 in the height. Let's see, is that going to work? I could probably take off just a smidge more. That should do it. And hopefully you won't have to watch me trim anything else. I think that was the only piece I had forgotten. All right, and it looks like it is directional, so I need to make sure I've got my words going the right way. And I normally would have to stress over coordinating a piece of paper here, but I don't have to do that because this is the only piece of paper that was big enough to go there. So that takes some of the, oh, which side do I like better? I think I like this side better. So it takes a little bit of the stress out. I don't have any choices to make. Okay. Turn it sideways. Make sure my margins look good. And they do. Get that down. All right. So again, this is stationary. So close. I like the way that turned out. And I did leave this open as a pocket. And when I come back in the last video where I'll do my embellishments and adding tags, you'll see what I do there. Because I haven't decided yet. All right. And this is just some teal seam binding that I use for the ribbon. I really like seam binding because it's so thin. I like the way it behaves, and it's just not bulky when you're working with your albums. This page I had put together in the original video. In the original video, I had actually cut only the cardstock piece, and lesson learned. If you're going to use a die cut like I did here to create these frames, you really want to layer your designer paper and your cardstock at the same time and run both pieces through your die cutter at the same time. Trying to get both of these to line up afterwards, I couldn't make it happen, so I had to take off my cardstock and start over. So lesson learned, if you're going to do some peekaboo openings in your mini album, make sure that you cut down your cardstock or your designer paper so you've got your mat where you want it, adhere it to the cardstock, and then cut it. Otherwise, you'll never get them to line up again. That was I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking. So lesson learned, like I said. Okay, we've got a nice little waterfall feature here, so this will take a few minutes. Let me double check, make sure I don't need to trim. It looks good. It's going in. Except now I have to decide which side I want up. I really like this side, I think. So I'm going to change my mind. So originally it was supposed to be the other way. The problem with pretty paper is it's hard to imagine covering it up with a photo. So sometimes I'll put the boring side up because it's easier for me to imagine a picture going there. But the flip side of the waterfall has all just plain cardstock. So there's plenty of photo opportunities on the inside. And you can still leave the decorative paper up. Oh, I'm having a hard time, sorry, getting that in straight. So I'm gonna turn it around. And it's not down yet. There we go. Okay, and this is held together just with magnets. So I have a magnet every other page because the cardstock builds up and the magnets won't hold. So I've added, instead of what I would normally do 2 magnets, there are 3. So there's one on the very bottom, one on the very top, and one in the middle. Little excess glue. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. All right, next piece. I hope everybody had a good Christmas. We're just getting our house back in order. It always seems to get kind of out of control at Christmas time, especially Christmas Day, but things are kind of back in order. We're getting a little bit caught up on our normal chores. I don't think I got quite enough glue here, so I'm going to add a little to the corner. And I think I did the same thing here, so I'm just gonna tack that down a little bit. The brown mats are American Craft Cardstock, and I love this brown. It's really pretty. It's a little bit thicker weight, or heavier weight than I'm used to, but I really like the way it looks. It's perfect for matting, but I would not recommend it for anything that has to have a score line in it. I think it's a little too thick and potentially could crack. But it's really pretty. It's not my normal design practice. Usually I like the collection designs on every page, but if you're trying to make a pack stretch, this is the way to do it. Okay. Here's that other magnet, the middle magnet I was telling you about. And since I decided on this as the top, I'm going to actually use this one. I'm changing my mind all over the place. That's all right. Okay. All right. So as I mentioned before, this is the Stamperia music collection, and it is available in our shop at www.scrapandcreate.com. And we really appreciate you guys clicking on that shop button and taking a look around. And if we've got something you're interested in, if you'll buy it from us, we'd appreciate it. It goes a long way to toward helping us fund our next set of tutorials. And we hope you're enjoying all the tutorials. Okay. I like this particular print. It's very busy, so it's hard for me to imagine putting a photo on it, but I love the collage look. It's very pretty. The Stamperia paper is just, in my opinion, very artsy. I really like it. I can really see doing mixed media stuff with it. It's very pretty. So you can see here we've got all the mats are the same on the back. And then we've got our waterfall on the front. And I try to go light, blue, light, and then something with a little bit of blue, so it went back and forth. And I've got one more spot for one more. One more. There we go. Beautiful. And it stays nice and in its place with the magnet. Now this side we had done previously because this is a pocket, and since we were installing the pocket, I went ahead and layered the paper on. So that's pretty straightforward. We'll come back and add some embellishment to this, but this page is done. Okay, on to the next. Okay, we had this little tab that we needed to work with, and I cut a couple small pieces. Here's the other one. So we're gonna go ahead and cover this tab first, then we're gonna put something on top of it and finish layering these pages. Okay. So this is a little tab that's going to hold a photo mat, and it's actually gonna become the hinge for that photo mat. And it's going to slip on top, and that's why I wanted to get these 2 little pieces of paper put in first. It's because the photo mat's going to slip right over it. Okay, I'm double checking to make sure I had the words right side up, and I do. I do. Okay, now here's my photo mat. So this was originally a card that's folded in half and glued together. And so you can see there's a little slit. I didn't glue it all the way closed. And then this is going to slip right over this piece, and we're going to glue it in place. So I'm going to actually put some glue in here right now. I'm going to slip this over it, and I need to find where my magnet's going to mate up. I guess it doesn't really matter. I can always move the magnet because I don't have it glued down permanently yet. But this is kind of what I had in mind. I got a little bit of wiggle room, but not a whole lot of time, because you guys know the art glitter glue doesn't stay wet for very long. So it looks like that's pretty even. So I'm going to close that on there. So that's down now. And I'm not sure. I don't think I have my magnet in the right place, so I'm going to have to move it. And that's okay. Just a little bit of tape. I'll move that real quick, and then get our mats put on here. If I can get all the sticky off me and the... Be careful. It doesn't get stuck to the designer paper and tear it. There we go. That's probably just enough sticky to grab it. Okay, now that I know exactly where this is installed, now's the time to actually get it. There we go. And a little bit of tape over that. Like so. And then we're ready to go ahead and put a mat down here. And because this is not an exposed piece, this will have a brown mat. And then we'll put a designer piece on top. Okay, it's going to go like that. And then we need a designer piece on top here. This is going to go here. Let's go ahead and get that in. I'm going to turn it sideways. Beautiful. Okay. Now we have the 2 inside pieces done. This is a stationary piece, and I left this open as a pocket. And I think I even talked about it during the process. I'm not sure I'll have enough stuff to put in it, but it'll be open to be used. Even if you don't put matching paper in it, maybe you'll put some memorabilia or something like that in it later. Get that off. All right. Okay. It's coming right along. Okay, isn't that beautiful? Okay, now we have to decide which pieces are we putting where, and I think this actually goes here, here. I'm not liking that, so let's try this. I like that better. There's not a lot of variation in the colors or the patterns, so it can be a little challenging. Getting it all together. So let's see, what do I think? I think I like this one. Okay, that's what we'll do. Okay, that's done, 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 done. Okay, and then our last piece, so I need to make my mind up. I think I like it kind of with a stronger contrast toward the bottom. Yes, that is what I'll do. Okay, so there we are. Okay, moving right along. So let's see, do I have, I think I might be missing one mat, or maybe not. This one will go here, so let's go ahead and get that in, get it out of the way. Okay, that is in. And I'm just trying to make a decision on how I want to organize these. And I think I like the A Little Bird Whispered to Me on top. This will go here. Oops. No, 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 say it isn't so. Good. I almost tore my paper. It's very easy to do. You get the backing off a little too early, and then you wind up shooting yourself in the foot. There we go. Very simple page. Just one flap and a stationary page with space for for a tag. Okay. A little more space here. Okay, so we've got a couple of pieces here, and they're held together with some ribbon and some temporary tape. There we go. All right, so we know that the brown is going to go on the inside of everything, so let's go ahead and get this in and out of the way. I'm missing, oh no, there it is. There's the strip that goes here. Well, let's go ahead and get her laid down. Did I ink it? Yes, I did. So pretty, so pretty. And then I think, yeah, I still need to go back and trim this piece out. So there is one more piece that I'll have to trim with you guys. Okay, let's make sure this fits. And it does. I had trimmed out 2 different sizes for the photo mats. Just want to make sure I was picking up the right size. Beautiful, beautiful. So that goes there, and then we need this is going to go this way. So if this goes on top like this, we'll have brown on the bottom, like that, and then this piece goes here. So let's go ahead and get that in. Now that I've figured that out, beautiful. Okay. I'm gonna get the mats put on here. So this is like a similar feature to the previous page. This is 2 mats glued together, and that's gonna slip on here. And this is actually gonna work as a gigantic hinge. One side. Let's get the brown mat in. Just trying to make sure I've got trying to make sure I have glue all the way to the corners. And I keep forgetting to speak up. I noticed that in the last video. In the last video too, I was using a new camera, and I'm still trying to figure it out. So I apologize if there's volume issues, but I'm dealing with a learning curve there. Okay, so before I can attach this here, I need to line this side. So I know I don't have a lot of choices. So this should go pretty quickly. I can use this. Okay. Let's see, what size do I need? Need my ruler. Here it is. So this looks like it is 2.5. So I need two 2 3/8 by 8. 2 3/8 by 8. Oh, let's see. That might actually work. Sorry, I need level space. 2 1/2, 2 3/8. Yes, that's perfect. Let's go ahead and cut it at 2 1/2. And 7 7/8. Let's see. Did we do it? We did it. Excellent. Okay, I'll ink these edges and get this down. Ink first. For those of you that are wondering, I'm using Powder Puff. These are chalking inks, and actually Julie's the one that found these for me. You can get them from Quick Quotes. We don't sell them, but I wish we did. And if we did, I'd be advertising them. I really like them. They are not nearly as messy as some of the other inks. So if you're not really a stamper, which I'm not, and you like ink for your papers and your edges, this is perfect. I can't tell you how it works for stamping because I've never used it for that. But as far as distressing, I really like it. It comes off my mat if I get it on it. It's not that juicy, so even when I've dropped it on the floor, it's never been a problem. So I really like them a lot. And they come in all kinds of colors, but I really just use the browns. And I'm using Java, is what it's called. And that's the same one I use for all my Graphic 45 books too. Okay, so this is the last piece, and we put paper on both sides. Now that we've lined this, we can go ahead and slip this on. So I'm going to run a bead of glue on the inside of this, slip it on, line it up with the ribbon on the other side so it can be tied in place when it's all closed up. Okay. So, and I just want a little bit of it holding. I don't want to cover her face. I'm going to line my ribbons up, and it looks like I'm a little low right now, so I need to scoot up a little. And that looks pretty good. All right. Okay, I'm going to press that into place. Add a bead of glue on this side. Originally, when I laid the glue down on the inside, it was on the other side, so now it's on both sides. And there you have it. A nice photo mat on this side. Is that even? It looks pretty even to me. Okay, just holding my corners down. Okay, and then this is going to get tied in place. This will hold this whole package together. There we go. Lovely. Okay, this did not get inked because I trimmed it before I sat down. So this is going to go on the top half here, and then I've got a strip that goes on the bottom, and we'll do the same thing we did on the other cover, on the inside cover, and only adhere 3 of the 4 sides so that it is a pocket. But but this is going to go down like so. Beauteous. A little bit of glue on my ribbon like I did on the other side. Okay, here is the bottom strip, so it needs ink also, and again 3 of the 4 sides only. And we'll have a nice little pocket. And I'm just about done today, which is good timing because I'm running out of light. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We appreciate you watching, subscribing, and your comments are always reviewed. And if in any way we can improve this experience for you, if there's hints or anything you'd like to share with us about the videos, we take that to heart and we try to incorporate it in the very next release. We don't like to sit on things, so one of you guys noticed the other day that I released some videos in the wrong orientation, and I did a portrait instead of landscape, so I got those re-released as quickly as possible. But if you see discrepancies between the cut list and the banners, let me know. I'll get that corrected for anybody else who watches it in the future. If there's types of videos that you'd like to see, or album sizes that you'd like to see us work in, just let us know and we will try to work that into our program. This is really all, you know, to be shared with you guys, and if you're not watching, then we're not doing our job. So let us know what you think and we'll try to keep you guys entertained and give you something to create to work on. So I'm going to give you a sneak peek at the cover. It's not quite finished yet, but this is what I've been working on. I'll add a couple more details to this, but as I come back in the next video, I'll go over kind of in detail what I did on the cover page, and then I'm also going to add some embellishments, tags, and journaling spots inside the album as the last video. So thanks for tuning in. Again, this is Stamperia Music Collection, and you're watching Daphne at Scrap and Create, and that's www.scrap.create.com. Please stop by our shop. If there's anything from Stamperia or Graphic 45 that you want, chances are we've got it. So please take a moment and browse our shop. We really appreciate it. And I'll be back with what will be the last video on the Stamperia music, covering the rest of the embellishments, and I'll talk a little bit about how I achieved this look for the cover. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.